All right, y'all, today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Going to check out its local search and its city search, see if it's got BSS for either of them. So we're back here at GBC Universe. We all know this, where we're taking disappearing boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star here is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that in pinned video, home video, somewhere on this profile. And we care about FSIC because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our intent spectrum here in white. Highest intent people on the left, those are people searching, boudoir photo shoot in my city, searching that in social search and Google search. And over on the right, the lowest intent people, they ain't searching for boudoir right now, and basically all of them don't even know what boudoir is. So those are, reach those people. Interruption ads via Facebook, Instagram, things like that. So we're here on the left talking about BSS with the highest intent peeps here in this brand, and our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, is way over on the right. It talks about BLCS, and with that one, we're only currently all in work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. So BSS, boudoir search sameness. This means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots, terrible, because we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page 2. People, it's page 1 search and done. So we got to be on page 1. And 1 slot, no bueno either, because guess what? That means none of the boudoir photographers, 1 slot for each one. A buyer, we're not standing out at all. A buyer is simply going to click down, all 10, contact all 10, get price quote from all 10, negotiate, bring the price down, basically like suck out all that margin. And, we're going to be price shopped to death. So we cannot have this with our boudoir photography business. Now, even though 0-1 slots is bad, well, terrible actually for the business, it's extremely common, but it's not normal. So it's accepted, but it's not normal. And it's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, as people get new gear, new phone, new camera, throwing up their Google Maps profile, throwing up their website, posting in mom's group saying they do boudoir. So more sellers hitting more buyers, makes it harder for each seller. And then the false belief of page 1 equality. That's what boudoir photographers literally assuming, kind of every boudoir photographer gets like 0-1 slots on page 1 on Google. And, if they're on slot 8 on page 1, and some new boudoir photographers enter the market, and they, their website got pushed onto page 2, which now we know is basically death, invisible. Then, people just simply kind of accept it, be like, yeah, that's how it is. But it's a false belief, because I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google with in only 10 days with this new strategy we developed, this new methodology. And so we know the false belief of page 1 quality is now false, because we know that Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And we also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, because we got 0-1 slots on page 1 of Google. We're either invisible to approximately 80% of searches if we're on page 2 or deeper, or we're getting price shopped to death if we only got 1 slot on page 1. And disappearing boudoir photographer, dude, that's literally the canary in the coal mine, kind of the warning light flashing on our dashboard, where once that happens, eventually, the boudoir photography business is on a path of disappearing as well. But luckily, we got a solution, because we now know that BSS is true with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And with S-cubed methodology, it works exactly like the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, highest intent buyer keywords in our city. And when we do that, that's kind of like, it's kind of seeding what we're trying to do. It's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains where, the snow is melting. You got some small streams, small rivers, and then those all flow into the large Amazon River. The large Amazon River is page one of Google. And so we gotta start off strong with saturating social search though. So then, get us on page one of Google. But the benefit is we're saturating social search, which means we're saturating page one of social search across all the social networks. If buyers are searching the highest, Boudoir buyers are searching the high intent buyer keywords there. So we're saturating literally 5 different kind of surfaces by utilizing S-cubed methodology. And this is the only strategy I've seen that actually allows boudoir photographers to maintain the business even in the face of market saturation and grow the business even in the face of market saturation in a relatively quick time frame to get these results page one on Google, which helps do all that. And the only other second option I've ever seen enable a business to grow in the face of massive market saturation is having a massive, strong brand. But dude, those take like 5 to 10 years to build. We ain't got 5 to 10 years because we're in AI, and AI is literally taking people's jobs. And so we ain't got time to build it, but we ain't got 5 to 10 years. So we got to be using S-cubed methodology. And when we do that, it's the highest chance our business will grow. And my estimate is it'll actually help build a brand 8x faster than normal, if executed every single day. So it's kind of like an accelerator to build a brand as well. So example for market saturation, imagine if we're in, let's say, Indianapolis, Indiana. There's 1 million boudoir photographers, and we're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they do boudoir. And we're like, all right, our only chance to compete here is if we crank up S-cubed methodology to the max, as many page one slots across social search and Google search as we can. So we do that, we rank for the first 300 slots for all the highest intent keywords for boudoir buyers in our city. And as a result, we actually, those flow, and let's say we get the first 300 slots on Google, which is extremely difficult to do. Let's say we accomplish that. So anytime boudoir buyers looking anywhere on social search or Google search for boudoir photo shoot in their city, then they basically only see us, even though there's literally 1 million competitors. And as a result, whose business is still growing in this market of 1 million boudoir photographers? Ours. And whose businesses is failing, disappearing? All the other 999,999 competitors, because we're taking up the highest intent Google search, closest to the money, highest conversion rate. So yeah, this is why the S-cubed methodology is so magical. Now, one straight with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. We're kicking, our initial benefit is we have more slots page one on Google. Our second initial benefit is we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. Yeah, so now that we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two, or page one and done Google searches, we can make people, invisible to approximately 80% of the market by literally just kicking them off from page one to page two and making them disappear in boudoir photographers. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this is where we have our GBC recommended minimum of hitting 3 out of 10 slots page one of Google. Because when we can do that, we're definitely looking way better than everyone else who's probably going to have only one slot. And Also, the people, there's a very, very rare chance that someone will have two slots, the same search as us. So if we got three slots, I mean, we're dominating everyone. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So this is our micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with BSS. It's caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one equality, or the false belief, page one equality. We now have the solution S cubed methodology would become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. And that's caused by us finally achieving page one visibility on our own. Now, I'm going to look at my results here from utilizing S-cube methodology. I wanted to rank for this keyword BLCS boudoir and take as many page one slots as Google as possible. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page one of Google to, we'll count through how many now. So organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So I'm from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots, page one on Google in 10 days. So we're proving the false belief of page one inequality as exactly that, a false belief, because now we know Google actually give us as many page one slots on Google search as we want, or as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And Google PPC ain't doing that. Max they're giving us is I believe, one extra slot on page one, even if, there's extra inventory available. We're only getting one extra slot. And the momentum of those ads dies, that real estate dies once we stop paying for ads. S-cube methodology has momentum to it. Not infinite momentum, but it has momentum to it where there's persistence of its existence. So main event here now. I'm going to take a look at this boudoir photography business and see, basically see for its local search and city search, is that BSS, yes, no, for all of them, for one of them, or what? All right, so we're going to Virginia Beach. Okay, Virginia Beach, we're here. All right, boom, we got one. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 local. Let's go to city closest. Another city closest nearby. All right, so let's see. All right, we're at 0 out of 10 for city. All right, so local, we got 1 out of 10 slots, so we do have BSS. And city, we got 0 out of 10 slots, so yes, we got BSS for both. And also for both, we are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page one of Google search. So if you're a boudoir photographer, disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got boudoir search sameness. You're seeing market saturation coming up. It's going to become more and more saturated. You know that page one equality is a false belief. You kind of didn't think about it before, but now you're like, yeah, dude. Why is everyone, why is no one trying to take more slots page one? And you're seeing with the way AI is going, there's going to be taking more people's jobs, pushing more people to become boudoir photographers. On top of when they get a new iPhone, they're a new boudoir photographer, or if they get a new camera, they're a new boudoir photographer. And so you're seeing the last time a lot of people lost their jobs was COVID, and a whole deluge of boudoir photographers came into the market. So you're saying, all right, that's probably going to happen again. And you want to get prepared. And you're seeing that there's also back-end benefits of this S-cubed methodology that we haven't talked about yet, but you're seeing, hey, this S-cubed methodology, you want to use this, you want to keep rolling with it, because it can It can fight back against market saturation faster than any other solution. The only other thing would be, building a brand, but that takes years. And you realize, and the other things on the back end of this is, if you got all these kind of bundles of keywords under your business, your brand that you're ranking for, that's a higher chance you show up in the AI search overview when you rank for all these keywords using the SQ'd methodology, and higher chance you rank for AI search as a backend benefit. ChatGPT search, whatever, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search, because they look for kind of bundles of keywords around a business, themes, thematic columns. And so you're like, man, I was able to get page one on Google and page one on all these search, social search, and kind of get the back end benefits of higher probability of AI me being the only one AI overview or being included in AI search. Where the last time I used AI search to search for a boudoir photographer in a city, it gave me 3. That was with ChatGPT. It gave me 3. So a higher chance you become one of the 3 by having all these the highest intent keywords focused, kind of thematically bundled as like pillars underneath your brand name. And you're also noticing that if some other boudoir photographer goes first to start using this in your area, then, well, you can't work with me anymore. So you'd have to figure it all out yourself and then equal them in work to maintain so they don't take over page one, or, most likely need to double them in work to actually make progress at getting more slots on page one that they were taking. So if you decided, okay, it's better just be the first goer and solidify your position, get the highest chance of basically being market saturation proof, busting that false belief of page one inequality, then shoot me a DM when my DM's open. My DMs are closed right now. New patient intake at the hospital is currently closed. But when we do open up for a new patient intake, shoot me a DM, we'll see if you qualify, and I'll have some questions for you.